This is a fictional parody, and absolutely none of it happened. In 8 minutes, Bigley would cool Venus or drop its cloud capital. The floating capital sank through clouds hotter than an industrial furnace. Nova ordered the planetary cooling system shut down immediately. 3 atmospheric platforms drifted toward a boiling pressure layer below. Director Aurelia watched another heat exchanger split from the tower. The sunshade jammed, the vents reversed, and the clouds began collapsing. Climate Auditor Ember confirmed only the appointed director could reset everything. Bigley treated accidental authority like advanced atmospheric engineering. To understand the disaster, we must return to the Venus request. The Uranian crystal had projected an urgent cooling request from Venus. Its thermostat displayed luxury sauna mode across the entire atmosphere. Nova explained that Venus had no simple thermostat to repair. Bigley heard the word hot and immediately promised air conditioning. The computer appointed him temporary director of planetary climate. Captain Vega noted the rocket still disliked both heat and landing. Bigley packed 40 fans, 12 thermostats, and 1 gold snow shovel. Rover packed an ice machine. Because the button looked refreshing, Nova packed actual instruments and quietly removed 39 fans. Air Force One departed for the brightest problem in the morning sky. Venus appeared ahead beneath endless yellow-white clouds and brutal sunlight. The crew entered a floating city high above the crushing lower atmosphere. Director Aurelia welcomed the new climate director with visible concern. Aurelia explained that the city survived inside one narrow, comfortable altitude band. Bigley focused on the temperature and ignored every other number. Auditor Ember presented 12,000 pages of atmospheric safety rules. Bigley converted the stack into a convenient fan stand. The city showed him ancient heat exchangers balanced across the cloud layer. Nova recommended adjusting those exchangers by less than 1%. Bigley requested a control labeled maximum cold before lunch. His engineers built the planetary air conditioner from orbital cooling modules. The machine included fans large enough to redirect small weather systems. It also included a thermostat with only hot and winning. Nova discovered the cooling modules were actually cargo refrigeration units. Bigley called that proven technology with excellent commercial history. Aurelia warned that cooling the cloud layer too quickly would change buoyancy. Bigley increased the cooling target because warning sounded inefficient. The first cold blast rolled across the city like a frozen wall. Cloud workers celebrated until every altitude gauge moved downward together. Bigley declared the downward motion proof that cold air was working. Within minutes, the upper clouds became denser around the city platforms. The city lost lift and descended toward dangerous pressure levels. The orbital sunshade reacted by opening farther to compensate. That reduced sunlight while the air conditioner kept cooling at full power. Nova identified a feedback loop between 2 systems solving opposite problems. Bigley solved the loop by ordering both systems to work harder. The temperature dropped safely while the city altitude became extremely unsafe. Aurelia watched the first residential platform scrape a lower cloud tower. Rover activated the ice machine and accidentally froze a navigation beacon. Every ship in the district immediately turned toward the wrong landing lane. The climate tower began tilting as chilled gas shifted beneath it. Emergency balloons inflated, but the dense clouds pushed them sideways. Captain Vega moved Air Force One beneath the tower as a temporary support. The rocket roof had never been approved as architecture. Auditor Ember located the original climate restoration procedure. The procedure required balanced sunlight, heat exchange, and stable city altitude. Bigley proposed replacing balance with one much larger air conditioner. Aurelia rejected the proposal before the blueprint finished unfolding. The lower pressure alarms reached the highest warning level. For the first time, Bigley noticed the word evacuation. His first rescue plan imported ice from Uranus by express rocket. The ice melted before the invoice finished printing. Plan 2 aimed every fan upward to push the city higher. The fans pushed loose furniture higher, and the city almost nowhere. Plan 3 opened every window to release the excess cold. Venus immediately returned the favor with extremely hot outside air. Plan 4 painted the sunshade gold to make sunlight more confident. The reflective paint redirected sunlight into the cargo dock. Rover used the snow shovel to redirect melting ice toward a drain. Nova finally removed every improvisation from the climate board. The original system used a slow orbital sunshade and distributed heat exchangers. Aurelia proposed returning each control to its neutral calibration. Nova calculated that the city could regain altitude within 90 seconds. The problem was that Bigley's maximum cold lock blocked neutral mode. Only the temporary climate director could remove that lock manually. The access route crossed the exterior of the tilting climate tower. Captain Vega positioned the rocket beside the tower as a moving handrail. Rover anchored the cable to the only bolt that looked expensive. Bigley entered the maintenance route, wearing 3 cooling capes. The first gust transformed all 3 capes into one enormous sail. The sunshade team rotated the first panel back toward neutral. A second panel jammed under dried gold paint from Plan 4. Nova used the cargo refrigeration coolant to loosen the hinge carefully. The panel moved, and the sunlight distribution returned toward normal. Below, Aurelia restarted the first heat exchanger at minimum power. The second exchanger refused because Rover's frozen beacon still confused navigation. Rover thawed the beacon, using the coffee machine's steam valve. Traffic returned to the correct lane while the exchanger came online. The Cloud City's descent slowed for the first time. Bigley still had to reach the manual climate lock above the tower. The maintenance route ended at a spinning climate turbine. Vega reduced the turbine speed using the rocket's remaining side thruster. The maneuver rotated Air Force One into a deeply embarrassing angle. Bigley crossed the turbine before it remembered its normal speed. The manual lock sat behind a door marked Climate Professionals Only. His temporary title passed the scanner by the narrowest legal definition. Inside, the climate core displayed every mistake from the last hour. The system asked why the maximum cold lock should be removed. Bigley's first answer praised his own cooling performance and failed. The second answer blamed Venus for being difficult and failed faster. Outside, the city dropped within 1 platform height of the pressure boundary. Aurelia warned that one more descent would force evacuation. Nova told Bigley the system wanted accuracy, not promotion. Bigley finally admitted that cooling Venus quickly had been a terrible idea. The maximum cold lock released and neutral mode became available. Nova synchronized the sunshade exchanger's vents and city ballast. The Venus Cloud City stopped descending and began climbing slowly. The lower pressure alarms faded 1 row at a time. Captain Vega pulled the bent climate tower upright with Air Force One. Bigley exited the core just as the tower locked safely into place. The Venus Climate Authority presented the complete cooling invoice. The bill included fans, ice paint, windows, cables, and 1 bent rocket roof. Bigley tried charging the sun for creating excessive heat. Aurelia presented 1 sealed vial of Venusian cloud droplets. Rover opened the vial beside the repaired navigation console. The droplets projected an emergency traffic notice from Mercury. Mercury Sunrise Railway had stopped directly beneath the solar glare. Nova blocked the automatic solar traffic optimization button immediately. Bigley promised to fix Mercury's rush hour before breakfast. The computer appointed him temporary director of solar transportation.
This is a fictional parody, and absolutely none of it happened. At exactly 9:03, Mars declared an emergency presidential election. At 9:04, President Bigley declared himself the obvious favorite. The polls on Mars are unbelievable, because nobody has taken them. Unfortunately, Mars had not invited him, called him, or heard of him. That tiny detail did not survive the morning press conference. Sir, are you actually running for president of another planet? Running is a strong word, because I prefer arriving as the winner. 6 hours later, a gold-painted rocket blocked 3 lanes of traffic. Its name was Air Force One, spelled exactly that way. That vehicle has no launch permit, navigation system, or cup holders. Cup holders are for people who expect a bumpy victory. Then the rocket coughed, jumped, and headed directly toward Mars. By sunset, 1 confused Earth politician would rule an entire planet. To understand why, we must return to yesterday's extremely normal breakfast. President Bigley was studying a classified stack of blueberry pancakes. He believed the syrup pattern looked suspiciously like Florida. Nobody pours a peninsula by accident, believe me. That was when the red telephone began speaking Marshnachen. Greetings, Earth Unit, your rover has activated our ancient election machine. Excellent. Connect me to whoever is in charge of congratulations. Nobody is in charge, which is why the machine is currently screaming. Across the room, Dr. Nova quietly stopped chewing her toast. Which rover, and what exactly did it activate? The silver one pressed a gold button, labeled "Definitely Do Not Press." President Bigley smiled like a man discovering a free buffet. Gold buttons recognize leadership, and possibly excellent taste. Sir, an alien constitutional crisis is not a campaign opportunity. Every crisis is an opportunity wearing terrible public relations. Within minutes, breakfast became an interplanetary strategy meeting. Dr. Nova projected the rover's camera feed across the dining room wall. The machine resembled a vending machine designed by nervous philosophers. For the record, the warning sign was covered by very attractive dust. The device appears to select a temporary leader during planetary emergencies. Temporary is simply permanent without good negotiation. The machine demanded a candidate with maximum confidence and minimum hesitation. That is not a healthy system of government. The telephone translated Bigley's breakfast speech into 7 Martian dialects. Every dialect somehow became louder, longer, and more confident. The election machine has identified your loudest available candidate. Available is a beautiful word, almost as beautiful as unanimous. You are not unanimous if nobody else knows the election exists. That sounds like a historic lead. Mars gave him 24 hours to appear before the election machine. Bigley gave his staff 20 minutes to find a rocket. The nearest real spacecraft required 18 months of careful preparation. Bigley rejected it for lacking gold paint and immediate availability. A theme park offered an old rocket-shaped restaurant for $12. Buy it, polish it, and remove the children's menu. That is fiberglass, not a heat shield. Then heat should show some respect and stay outside. Engineers installed 3 engines, 2 parachutes, and 1 espresso machine. The espresso machine received the most thorough safety inspection. I can fly this object, but I refuse to call it a spacecraft. Call it a winning environment with engines. His campaign team printed 10,000 hats reading "Make Mars Mildly Habitable." The final word wrapped around the back and disappeared under the strap. Martians do not wear hats because their antennae are highly sensitive. Then we have discovered an underserved hat market. At noon, the least prepared mission in history reached the launch pad. A crowd gathered because the official invitation accidentally promised free pizza. There was no pizza, but there was considerable smoke. Flight controls are responding, although several responses are personal insults. Oxygen stable, fuel unstable, confidence unfortunately unlimited. Excellent numbers, especially the unlimited one. The countdown began at 10, and immediately skipped 6 numbers. 10, 7, 3, Tuesday, launch. Air Force One rose 6 feet, paused, and reconsidered its choices. Full power now, before gravity notices us. The rocket shot upward and left its restaurant sign behind. Bigley waved through the window until the atmosphere removed his hat. Send that hat an invoice. Earth became a blue marble, then a dot, then a fundraising graphic. Mars arrival in 11 hours, assuming the engines remain emotionally available. Bigley leaned back and practiced his Martian acceptance speech. People of Mars, your long planetary nightmare of not knowing me is over. Please save oxygen by making that speech shorter. 11 hours later, Mars filled the windshield like a rusty tomato, beginning descent toward Civic Dome 7. The landing gear opened, except for the wheel, serving as a dinner table. Use the good table, because first impressions matter. Air Force One landed sideways, but technically remained on Mars. A silent delegation of 12 Martians waited beside the crater. Look at that crowd, stretching almost to the other 12 people. The Martians were slender, green, 3-eyed, and magnificently unimpressed. Welcome, loud Earth candidate, to our quiet and exhausted civilization. Quiet civilizations love me once the microphones arrive. Clerk 7 presented 6 forms and 6 different pens. Sign each page once, twice, and never on the dotted line. Bigley signed every dotted line with his largest possible signature. The inauguration took place inside a dome shaped like a salad bowl. 500 Martians attended, mostly because the exits were temporarily locked. Raise your right hand, or whichever hand appears most legally persuasive. Both hands are extremely persuasive. Do you promise to protect Mars from dust, rocks, and unnecessary speeches? I promise 2 of those things very strongly. The election machine flashed green, coughed twice, and printed a crown. The crown was too small, so Bigley wore it on his hair. Long live the temporary president for the next 48 hours. 48 hours is plenty of time to become unforgettable. That is exactly what concerns the insurance committee. Bigley's first official portrait required a canvas wider than the doorway. His second official portrait was simply the first portrait turned sideways. Now let us begin the greatest 48 hours in Martian history. Mars collectively checked the emergency exits. Executive Order 1 renamed the red planet Mara Mars. The planet has been named Mars for 4 billion years. Then the old branding has clearly stopped generating excitement. Executive Order 2 replaced the national anthem with entrance music. The anthem lasted 11 minutes and included 3 dramatic pauses. Martian days are already longer than Earth days. Excellent. Then everyone had more time to hear the anthem. Executive Order 3 required every crater to receive a positive name. Crater 14 is a toxic sinkhole. Call it an exclusive underground wellness destination. The tourism department resigned, then returned, because Mars had no replacements. Bigley created a department of winning with no measurable responsibilities. Its first achievement is existing ahead of schedule. Its first expense is a desk made from emergency oxygen tanks. The new president approved the desk before hearing the final sentence. By afternoon, Bigley discovered Mars suffered frequent meteorite showers. We will build a wall, and space will respect the property line. Meteorites arrive from above, not across the horizon. Then we will build the wall taller than above. Martian engineers produced a modest dome reinforcement proposal. Bigley added towers, flags, fountains, and a gift shop. Fountains require water, which Mars does not possess in fountain quantities. Use sparkling water and charge admission. Construction began with bricks made from compressed red dust. The first brick dissolved when someone looked at it skeptically. That brick lacked confidence, which is a management problem. Workers replaced the bricks with inflatable gold panels. A small meteorite hit the wall and bounced into the gift shop. The gift shop has recorded its first and final customer. Bigley called the test an energetic grand opening. Next, Bigley promised Mars its first 7-star luxury hotel. Our rating system ends at 3 stars and 1 warning triangle. Add 4 stars and remove the negativity triangle. The lobby featured a golden escalator designed for Earth gravity. In Martian gravity, guests floated upward faster than the moving steps. That is not a malfunction. That is premium express service. Every room had a balcony facing the same parking crater. The minibar contained 1 raisin and a contract for the raisin. Consuming the raisin activates a 30-year hospitality agreement. Nobody should eat anything that requires a witness. Bigley reserved the penthouse before workers installed the oxygen seals. Fresh air is the most luxurious air. There is no fresh air outside. Then, exclusivity has increased dramatically. The hotel opened with 0 guests and a completely full waiting list. By evening, Zorp had collected 12,000 formal complaints. Mars only had 11,000 residents. Several citizens complained twice, and 1 crater submitted paperwork. Complaints are simply applause wearing reading glasses. Then you are receiving historic applause from the sewage committee. Zorp challenged Bigley to the traditional Martian leadership debate. I have won debates against mirrors, elevators, and 1 very rude toaster. Did the toaster concede? It stopped talking after the fire department arrived. The debate rules required honesty, brevity, and respectful silence. Bigley requested 3 completely different rules. Rule changes require approval 5 business moons in advance. Fortunately, every moon is a business moon when I am working. That sentence has already violated the brevity rule. Tickets sold out before anybody learned the debate was free. The debate stage contained 2 podiums and 1 ceremonial bowl of dust. Candidates, explain how you will protect Mars for future generations. We strengthen the dome, conserve oxygen, and fund scientific maintenance. The audience nodded with the restrained enthusiasm of accountants. I will protect Mars with strength, style, and an unbelievable roof. How would you pay for a planetary roof? We sell naming rights to every mountain, crater, and to suspicious pebble. Your hotel already named the parking crater after itself. That demonstrates successful early revenue. Final question. What do you understand about Martian culture? The people are green, punctual, and surprisingly resistant to hats. The audience gasped through 3 separate breathing filters. Our culture values patience above every other civic virtue. I have waited almost 6 minutes to answer that. Before Zorp could respond, every light in the dome turned red. Planetary dust storm approaching. Estimated arrival in 9 minutes. Outside, the horizon disappeared behind a mountain of moving sand. This storm could block the solar grid and freeze every dome. Our emergency sunshade should retract automatically. The retraction permit is currently waiting for your 6th signature. I have only 5 hands. The regulation anticipated greater administrative commitment. The first dust wave struck before anyone found a spare hand. Solar power dropped from full strength to the brightness of soup. Nobody panic, because panic looks terrible under emergency lighting. We have 20 minutes before the heating system fails. The orbital sunshade is jammed with electrically charged dust. Then we need the greatest dust remover in the solar system. Every Martian slowly turned toward the man who built an inflatable wall. Excellent. I can feel the confidence returning. Bigley's first plan involved 12,000 industrial vacuum cleaners. Vacuum cleaners require air, and Mars is famously unhelpful there. Plan 2 involved pushing the storm backward with hotel fans. Those fans currently prevent 3 guests from touching the ceiling. Plan 3 involved asking the storm to leave politely. We have a very strong relationship with weather. The weather responded by stealing the podium. Plan 4 was a wall on top of the original wall. That creates a taller object for the storm to throw at us. Nice. Plan 5 was classified, mainly because nobody understood the drawing. Is that a solar reflector or a self-portrait? Great designs can accomplish 2 things. Wait, the gold coating could reflect concentrated sunlight. The first time, the ridiculous drawing contained useful physics. I have always said, physics becomes excellent after good branding. The hotel sign is large enough to redirect sunlight onto the jammed gears. The sign weighs 60 tons and is attached to an unstable building. Unstable buildings are simply buildings prepared to move. Air Force One can lift it if we remove every unnecessary object. They removed the gift shop, the fountain, and 14 boxes of hats. Keep the hats, because this is still technically a campaign. 1 box, and it becomes emergency insulation. Martian workers detached the massive sign using 6 careful lasers. Bigley added a 7th laser, because the number looks stronger. Please stop improving the geometry. The sign swung beneath the rocket like a golden frying pan. If the cable breaks, Civic Dome 7 becomes Civic Crater 8. That sounds like a memorable expansion opportunity. Everyone quiet, because I am flying a restaurant under a billboard. Air Force One climbed directly into the red storm. Inside the storm, visibility fell to approximately 1 presidential hair. Hold the reflector steady at 37 degrees. 37 is not a powerful angle, so make it 45. 45 sends sunlight directly through the city bakery. Fine. 37 is suddenly one of my favorite angles. Captain Vega aligned the sign with a narrow beam of sunlight. The beam crossed the sky and struck the frozen sunshade gears. Temperature rising, dust charge falling, gears beginning to move. Then the 7th decorative laser weakened the sign's upper corner. Your stronger number has created a weaker billboard. Nobody remembers numbers during a successful rescue. The corner snapped, rotating the reflector away from the gears. We need 80 more seconds of light. Bigley stared at the loose sign, then at his emergency hat box. At last, campaign merchandise has found a constitutional purpose. They tied 40 antenna hats into one surprisingly strong red rope. This violates material science, fashion, and at least 4 warranties. History rarely asks permission from warranties. You are not going outside. Correct, because I am going just outside enough. In low gravity, his enormous head functioned like a determined balloon. He bounced across the sign and grabbed the broken corner. This sign is much heavier when it is saving democracy. Mars is not currently a democracy, but please continue pulling. The hat chain stretched until every slogan became one long red blur. Reflector angle 36.8, and improving. Bigley pulled once, twice, and with maximum unnecessary drama. The sunlight snapped back onto the gears for exactly 80 seconds. The sunshade opened, solar power returned, and every dome warmed. The final hat broke, dropping Bigley gently into the hotel fountain. Mars survived, although the fountain still contained absolutely no water. Bigley saved the domes with science, sunlight, and discounted merchandise. The hats were always a renewable emergency infrastructure program. You called them an underserved market yesterday. The market evolved very rapidly. The 48-hour election machine began counting approval crystals. Zorp receives 9,812 votes. President Bigley receives 1 vote and 1 hotel coupon. Who cast the one very intelligent vote? I did, because the ballot button was also gold. Bigley requested a recount, a re-recount, and a louder counting machine. The result is final, but Mars offers you a ceremonial position. Supreme Leader? Temporary Minister of Emergency Merchandise. I accept, pending a much larger office. Before departure, Clerk 7 delivered the complete rescue invoice. 1 damaged sign, 1 broken fountain, and 14,000 missing hats. Charge the storm, because it caused most of the damage. The storm has no billing address. Then it is clearly avoiding taxes. The Martians presented him with 1 red rock and no refund policy. This stone commemorates the day Mars survived your assistance. A beautiful review, and I will quote only the final word. Air Force One launched home with 1 engine and half an espresso machine. Earth arrival in 12 hours, assuming nobody renames gravity. Bigley spent the flight planning luxury crater tours from a safe distance. You lost the election by 9,811 votes. On another planet, that could be considered extremely close. Back on Mars, Zorp quietly banned all unattended gold buttons. The universe, however, had already mailed Bigley another invitation. 3 days later, the red Mars rock began vibrating on Bigley's desk. Either this is alien technology, or the desk needs confidence. The signal is coming from beneath Jupiter's clouds. Jupiter is enormous, which suggests excellent audience numbers. The message contained coordinates, a crown, and 1 extremely large invoice. Earth candidate, please do not press anything gold near Jupiter. Good advice, because silver looks more presidential this week. Dr. Nova lunged across the office, but the button was already blinking. Congratulations. You have registered for the Jupiter Royal Tournament. Royal is excellent, and tournament sounds like winning with paperwork. Somewhere inside Jupiter, 1,000 alien trumpets began warming up. President Bigley had survived Mars, but Jupiter had rules of its own. Subscribe to Trumpverse Tales for the next completely fictional disaster. Tell us which impossible planet he should misunderstand after Jupiter. Until then, remember that confidence is not a substitute for oxygen.
This is a fictional parody, and absolutely none of it happened. In 8 minutes, Bigley would save Neptune or become weather. He clung to a golden weather vane inside the storm. Nova ordered him to release the governor lock. Below, Neptune's cloud capital fell toward a methane lightning belt. Admiral Azure warned that another mile meant permanent blue fire. The satellites failed, the storm stalled, and pressure climbed. Clerk Nix confirmed only the registered governor could restart everything. Bigley treated governorship like a highly relevant rescue credential. This disaster began with one glowing blue button. The flight computer appointed Bigley governor of the Great Dark Spot. He interpreted governor as owner of Neptune's largest weather system. Nova explained the storm-regulated heat across the upper atmosphere. Zorp found 12,000 pages of Neptunian weather law. Captain Vega reported a cracked hull and one working coffee valve. Bigley packed capes, cameras, and a ceremonial gold barometer. Rover confirmed travel while searching the blue button for snacks. Air Force One departed before anyone finished the safety briefing. Neptune appeared like a blue marble wrapped in screaming wind. The damaged rocket entered its clouds with unnecessary confidence. A floating city circled the dark storm on silver pressure platforms. Admiral Azure welcomed the new governor with visibly limited enthusiasm. Clerk Nix presented 3 permits and 1 emergency resignation form. Bigley signed every pressure line with one enormous gold signature. The appointment transferred control of the storm to his wrist console. Every weather satellite immediately switched to ceremonial standby. Bigley renamed the Great Dark Spot the Bigley Blue Vortex. Neptune's citizens responded with synchronized worried blinking. Gale 9 projected the storm's rotation, pressure, and shrinking margins. Azure explained that maintenance began before celebration. Bigley opened Neptune's first department of premium weather. Its headquarters used emergency oxygen tanks as decorative columns. He sold naming rights to clouds, gusts, and suspicious raindrops. Toll gates appeared across the safest wind lanes. The forecast became an 11-minute entrance speech. Bigley ordered a gold control tower inside the storm's outer wall. Nova warned that extra mass would distort the pressure bands. Bigley approved 7 additional floors for stronger stability. The tower leaned before the ribbon touched the scissors. Bigley called the lean dynamic atmospheric architecture. The resort opened with heated lounges above frozen methane clouds. Guests received balconies facing the same endless blue hurricane. Souvenir shops bottled wind directly from the storm wall. Nova explained that removing wind also removed rotational energy. Bigley marketed each bottle as portable executive weather. Gold turbines began harvesting energy from the vortex. The first turbine slowed the storm by 1 measurable degree. Bigley added 12 more because slow progress looked inefficient. Gale 9 displayed a red warning around the shrinking storm eye. Bigley replaced the warning with a gold opportunity sticker. By afternoon, the Great Dark Spot had lost half its rotation. Pressure bands collided and pushed the cloud city downward. Triton's transport lanes disappeared behind violent methane lightning. Azure ordered the emergency cyclone reserves released immediately. The reserve system rejected every command without governor authorization. Nix discovered Bigley's branding contract had privatized the emergency switch. Nova demanded that he cancel the weather ownership seal. Bigley worried cancellation would reduce the storm's market value. Another pressure wave tore the gold tower from its foundations. Every alarm on Neptune selected the same serious shade of red. Plan 1 used giant fans to restart the missing winds. The fans pushed the city backward, and the storm nowhere. Plan 2 turned Bigley's capes into emergency pressure sails. The capes spun the city like a decorative blue plate. Plan 3 sent a formal eviction notice to the lightning belt. The lightning signed nothing and removed the podium. Plan 4 built a gold wall around the storm. The wall became Neptune's fastest uncontrolled weather projectile. Nova found an ancient restart diagram beneath the ruined tower. Bigley declared the discovery a successful fifth plan. The diagram revealed the storm as Neptune's upper atmosphere heat valve. Without rotation, trapped heat would ignite the methane bands. Ancient Shepherd satellites could rebuild the vortex within minutes. Bigley's private weather network had locked every satellite. Nix located the master unlock inside the storm's central pressure eye. Azure offered synchronized wind harps to stabilize the outer bands. Vega positioned Air Force One above the falling city. Nova converted the gold barometer into a pressure conductor mast. Bigley requested spotlights before accepting the rescue assignment. Neptune dropped another mile while the cameras found focus. Thousands of wind harps tuned across the cloud platforms. Bigley conducted them with a baton longer than the rocket. The first note folded 3 weather towers sideways. Nova reduced the volume and matched Neptune's natural frequency. Azure synchronized the satellites with controlled methane lightning. One clear blue pressure wave circled the entire planet. The wave revealed the locked storm core beneath the vortex. Vega opened a narrow descent shaft through the outer clouds. The shaft was too small for the rocket but perfect for Bigley. They tethered him with capes, cable, and emergency wind bottles. Inside the eye, blue lightning flowed between building-sized turbines. Nova guided Bigley past the red gear and unstable pressure vents. A wind harp echo bounced his enormous head between safety rails. Gale 9 unfolded into a temporary bridge across the core. Azure charged the governor key with a magnetic lightning pulse. The gold ownership seal broke free from the central turbine. The Storm Corps requested one honest reason for holding office. Bigley offered leadership, ratings, and premium atmospheric results. The Corps rejected every phrase as promotional weather language. Bigley finally admitted he caused the crisis and feared the city falling. The ownership seal transformed into a silver cyclone key. Nova directed a precise 37-degree turn. Bigley resisted improving the number for once. Every Shepherd satellite awakened in a ring of blue light. The satellites rebuilt the vortex around the falling city. The cloud platforms rose as the methane lightning retreated. The great dark spot regained its rotation with one thunderous pulse. The Corps launched Bigley into the premium wind bottle kiosk. Neptune cheered until Nix displayed the final damage total. Azure restored public weather control and reopened the transport lanes. Bigley described losing ownership as a strategic atmospheric donation. Neptune named him temporary deputy of atmospheric confusion. He interpreted deputy as governor with improved flexibility. Nix's invoice wrapped around the restored storm twice. Bigley tried billing the wind for unauthorized movement. Azure gave him one sealed breeze with strict instructions. Rover opened the bottle beside the damaged coffee valve. The escaped breeze projected a legal distress signal from Pluto. Nova blocked the flashing planetary status appeal button. The computer appointed Bigley judge of Pluto's planetary hearing.
This is a fictional parody, and absolutely none of it happened. In 8 minutes, Bigley would save Saturn or join its rings. Bigley called it a premium orbit and blamed gravity. Dr. Nova ordered him to release the ownership lock. Below, the widening gap threatened 3 inhabited moons. Lady Halo warned that 1 more kilometer meant extinction. The drones failed, the segment fell, and costs climbed. Archon Loop explained that only the owner could unlock the system. Bigley treated ownership like an emergency qualification. This disaster began with a 9 trillion credit button. The flight computer announced that Bigley owned Ring Segment 7. He decided 9 trillion was reasonable for something enormous. Dr. Nova reminded him he had bought structural ice. Auctioneer Hex declared the sale final and deeply non-refundable. Zorp found 9,000 clauses in Saturnian ownership law. Captain Vega reported 2 missing doors and little fuel. Bigley packed the deed, cameras, and every orbital cape. Rover confirmed shipping while searching for snacks. The segment arrived and erased the parking lot. Air Force One towed history's costliest ice cube. Saturn appeared, wearing rings brighter than every crown. Bigley admired a planet that truly understood accessories. Lady Halo welcomed the registered owner to the Ring Authority. Archon Loop revealed that Segment 7 stabilized the Shepard orbit. Auctioneer Hex demanded signatures across every dimension. Bigley signed every dimension with one gold signature. Ownership transferred, and every Shepard drone stopped. Bigley immediately renamed it Bigley Ring 7. The audience answered with contract-reading silence. Lady Halo ended the ceremony and began the maintenance briefing. The deed required mass balance, temperature control, and inspection. Bigley heard maintenance and imagined premium toll opportunities. Lady Halo noted that Saturn's rings had always been free. Bigley interpreted free access as disappointing revenue. His architects proposed a luxury hotel on frozen debris. Dr. Nova explained that gravity held the water ice together. Bigley ordered heaters because luxury should never feel cold. Archon Loop warned that heating would alter the orbit. Bigley approved 12 heaters before Loop finished. One melted droplet shifted the segment 3 meters. The resort opened before walls, oxygen, or orbit. Its red carpet slid continuously toward open space. Bigley marketed the sliding carpet as express checkout. Every balcony faced the same enormous emptiness. He called empty space exclusive because nobody could build there. The souvenir shop shipped products from the property. Dr. Nova revealed that the souvenirs supported the hotel. Bigley rebranded structural material as premium merchandise. Drone S7 warned that the segment had lost stable mass. The ring gap widened another 40 kilometers. Archon Loop revealed Segment 7 was Saturn's counterweight. Bigley's ownership seal disabled the Shepard network. Lady Halo offered to restart the drones after a full return. Bigley rejected the return as catastrophically negative accounting. Atmospheric drag pulled the heated segment lower. Dr. Nova traced the collision path across Enceladus and transport lanes. Captain Vega calculated impact in 22 minutes. Bigley attempted to negotiate directly with gravity. Gravity ignored him and kept pulling downward. Every Saturn alarm switched to Sirius red. Segment 7 cracked and spun like an expensive plate. Moon residents evacuated while hotel guests demanded refunds. Auctioneer Hex added a moon, 3 lanes, and depreciation. Bigley tried assigning the damage to the previous owner. Lady Halo reminded him he was Saturn's first private ring owner. Dr. Nova discovered an ancient resonance engine inside the core. Archon Loop said it could restore orbit after public authorization. Lady Halo explained that authorization required surrendering ownership. Bigley countered with a 99,000-year renewable lease. The Shepard system rejected every temporary ownership arrangement. Plan 1 used pancake syrup as orbital adhesive. The frozen syrup shattered and created 4 new cracks. Plan 2 attached Air Force 1 to the segment. Captain Vega reported that the segment was towing the rocket. Plan 3 asked Saturn to rotate more slowly. Saturn continued rotating without visible concern. Plan 4 sold the segment as luxury squares. Lady Halo rejected solving fragmentation by selling more fragments. Dr. Nova repurposed the giant deed as a solar magnetic sail. Bigley celebrated paperwork, finally becoming useful. Workers unfolded the deed across half the hotel. Bigley's signatures became reflective solar panels. Drone S7 connected the anchors, but the public network stayed locked. Captain Vega prepared the rocket to tow during orbital correction. Solar wind slowly lifted the segment higher. Dr. Nova found the gold lettering was causing dangerous spin. Archon Loop calculated an exact 37-degree sail angle. Bigley preferred 45 because it photographed better. Dr. Nova showed that 45 crossed Enceladus City. Bigley reluctantly accepted 37 as his successful angle. Archon Loop sent the title seal into the resonance core. Bigley entered the ice tunnel as cracks spread. Ancient walls showed Saturn's rings forming over ages. Drone S7 built a temporary magnetic bridge. A fracture sealed the tunnel behind him. The title seal spun inside a silver mechanism. The resonance engine demanded Bigley's honest purpose. He admitted buying the segment for revenue and room rates. He also wanted cameras and the largest accessory in space. Finally, he refused to endanger 3 moons for an ice cube. The title seal unfolded into a shepherd key. Dr. Nova guided the key through a 37-degree turn. Bigley agreed not to improve the number this time. Every shepherd drone restarted, forming a magnetic corridor. Segment 7 returned with one enormous icy click. Lady Halo confirmed stability, reopened traffic, and postponed extinction. The core launched Bigley into the souvenir booth. The crowd cheered until Hex revealed the damages. Lady Halo returned the ring to Saturn and left Bigley with nothing. Bigley rebranded the loss as a strategic donation. Saturn named him temporary keeper of lost property. Bigley interpreted keeper as owner with better publicity. Hex's invoice circled the restored ring twice. Bigley tried billing Saturn for receiving its own property. Lady Halo gave him 1 ice cube with strict warnings. Rover placed it beside the broken espresso machine. The ice melted and projected a signal from Neptune. The flight computer received Neptune's request for a storm governor. Dr. Nova blocked the blue button from former owners. The button registered Bigley as governor of Neptune's largest storm.
This is a fictional parody, and absolutely none of it happened. In 8 minutes, Bigley would save Pluto, or misplace it. The planetary status court spun above a widening orbital fault. Nova ordered Bigley to release the judge lock immediately. Below, Charon drifted toward a chain of research stations. Chancellor Frost watched the court lose another kilometer. The status engine stalled, the beacons reversed, and gravity complained. Registrar Pebble confirmed only the appointed judge could restart everything. Bigley treated accidental authority like an excellent emergency qualification. To understand the crisis, we must return to Pluto's appeal. The escaped Neptunian breeze had carried Pluto's legal distress signal. Its appeal challenged the solar system's most famous classification decision. Rover pressed the flashing button while searching for snacks. The computer appointed Bigley chief judge before Nova could object. Bigley immediately imagined robes, cameras, and a much larger gavel. Nova explained that planetary status required evidence, not branding. Zorp warned that outer system law punished theatrical interference severely. Bigley heard the word judge and stopped listening responsibly. Vega repaired the rocket while the court sent 12 urgent reminders. Air Force One headed outward, carrying 1 judge and no restraint. Pluto appeared beneath a courthouse carved from nitrogen ice. Charon hovered nearby like a skeptical witness waiting outside. Chancellor Frost welcomed the judge with visibly limited optimism. Advocate Chara arrived carrying 6 centuries of orbital research. Registrar Pebble presented rules longer than Pluto's daylight cycle. The first rule prohibited promotions during scientific testimony. The second rule prohibited changing any moon's orbit for emphasis. Bigley requested permission to improve both rules aesthetically. The ancient status engine opened beneath the central courtroom. Its verdict would update every navigation chart in the solar system. Frost began with Pluto's spherical shape and solar orbit. Chara added geology, glaciers, mountains, and a living atmosphere. Nova confirmed that Pluto was complex, dynamic, and scientifically important. The opposing file emphasized Pluto's crowded orbital neighborhood. Bigley noticed the word crowded and proposed premium zoning. Frost reminded him that classification was not real estate. Bigley proposed a new category called Tremendous Planet. The status engine rejected the phrase as scientifically decorative. Rover discovered a silver button labeled Provisional Classification. Nobody reached the rover before the button confirmed itself. Pluto instantly received a temporary Premium Planet badge. Every outer system world immediately filed for the same upgrade. Charon applied as a luxury companion planet with excellent views. Bigley approved Charon before anyone finished reading the application. The engine assigned both worlds the same orbital priority. Navigation beacons began pulling each body toward the center line. Bigley launched premium status stickers across the courtroom. The stickers covered warning lights, maps, and 1 emergency exit. Chara noticed Charon's orbital marker shifting dangerously inward. The courthouse tilted as the binary orbit lost balance. The premium badge had activated ceremonial gravity beacons. Those beacons treated every approved world as the orbital center. Pluto's research stations began sliding across the icy plain. Charon's transport ring twisted toward the widening fault. Vega calculated a collision window of 23 minutes. Frost demanded immediate cancellation of both provisional badges. The engine refused because the judge had approved premium ownership. Bigley insisted the crisis merely proved strong market demand. Nova replaced his chart with the actual collision simulation. Every courtroom seat quietly rotated toward the appointed judge. Bigley's first ruling added a larger badge as counterweight. The larger badge pulled Pluto farther from its safe path. His second ruling renamed Charon the official parking moon. Charon responded by drifting directly through the parking lane. His third ruling moved the courthouse instead of the worlds. The court moved 6 meters and lost its northern staircase. His fourth ruling ordered both worlds to orbit the judge. The engine rejected Bigley as insufficiently massive for governance. Nova finally found a neutral science mode beneath the gold stickers. The switch required one evidence-based verdict from the judge. Nova rebuilt the case using only measurable planetary facts. Pluto was round because its own gravity shaped it. It orbited the sun across a long, tilted path. It shared that neighborhood with many similar icy bodies. Chara demonstrated that scientific value did not depend on rank. Frost showed that a precise label improved every navigation chart. Pebble removed 47 promotional exhibits from the evidence table. Bigley stared at the smaller title like a personal insult. Then he noticed the entire court waiting for honesty. The neutral switch opened a narrow path into the engine. Bigley entered the engine, carrying the original appeal file. Millions of labels rotated around a frozen central core. Nova guided him past the obsolete honorary planet chamber. The rover opened a maintenance hatch by pressing the brightest button. The appeal file transformed into a silver verdict key. The core asked whether a title could change physical reality. Bigley first claimed branding improved gravity under pressure. He next argued that popularity should count as orbital clearance. Outside, Pluto and Charon crossed the final warning line. Bigley finally admitted that names could not negotiate with gravity. The verdict key unlocked neutral classification mode. The premium badges detached from both worlds simultaneously. Orbit drone P9 restored the original beacon sequence. Vega fired Air Force One's remaining side thrusters. Chara synchronized Charon's transport ring with Pluto's motion. Frost anchored the courthouse with 3 emergency ice cables. Bigley turned the key exactly 37 degrees. The classification engine restarted with a dignified mechanical cough. Pluto and Charon returned to their stable shared dance. The courthouse settled safely above Pluto's heart-shaped plane. The court reconvened with every promotional sticker removed. Bigley ruled that Pluto remained a scientifically important dwarf planet. He added that smaller classifications could still describe remarkable worlds. The engine accepted the ruling. Without smoke or litigation, navigation charts across the solar system updated correctly. Chara received custody of the original premium badge as evidence. Frost granted Pluto the title Founding World of the Outer Court. Bigley received the title Temporary Arbiter of Small Worlds. He interpreted temporary as a spelling problem for later. Pluto celebrated with 1 quiet snowfall and no rebranding. Registrar Pebble unrolled the damage invoice around Charon twice. The bill included badges, beacons, stairs, and 47 stickers. Bigley tried charging the classification system for emotional confusion. Frost presented 1 sealed Pluto ice crystal as complicated gratitude. Rover opened the case beside the repaired coffee valve. The crystal projected an audit request from Uranus. Its planetary axis had been declared 98 degrees overdue. Nova blocked the automatic orientation correction button. Bigley argued that every sideways planet needed stronger management. The computer appointed him Inspector of Sideways Planets. Narrator: This is a fictional parody, and absolutely none of it happened. Narrator: In 8 minutes, Bigley would save Jupiter or become part of its weather. President Bigley, this is a strong position, although the wind is behaving very unfairly. Dr. Nova, please stop campaigning and pull the emergency lever. Narrator. Below him, the floating royal arena was dropping toward the great red spot. Queen Nimbus Ninx. Another mile lower, and the tournament becomes archaeology. Narrator. The crown was missing, the engines were failing, and 1,000 trumpets disagreed. Prince Volt. The storm engine requires one honest command from the registered champion. President Bigley. Excellent, because honesty is one of my strongest emergency options. Narrator. To understand this crisis, we must return to the silver button. Narrator. The button had registered Bigley for Jupiter's royal tournament without permission. President Bigley. Royal means crown, and tournament means the crown needs a winner. Dr. Nova. It also means 5 trials, strict rules, and an enormous entry fee. Narrator. Cancellation required the signatures of 7 moons and 1 unavailable comet. President Bigley. That is excessive paperwork for a decision this excellent. Captain Vega. Air Force One is missing an engine, a door, and half its espresso machine. Zorp. Jupiter has more rules than Mars, and several are electrically enforced. President Bigley. I heard 1 crown and stopped listening at exactly the right moment. Narrator. Nova packed instruments, Vega packed tools, and Bigley packed 40 capes. Narrator. Air Force One plunged into Jupiter's clouds like a gold spoon entering soup. Narrator. A silver arena appeared above the great red spot, surrounded by 1,000 musicians. President Bigley. Finally, a welcoming committee with an appropriate understanding of volume. Bloop. Hello, competitor. Your vehicle smells like coffee and fear. Prince Volt. I am Prince Volt, champion of 12 moons and defender of the upper storms. President Bigley. 12 moons sounds impressive until somebody counts the audience. Queen Nimbus. Welcome, champions. To the tournament, nobody may leave early. Judge Quark. Every champion must obey the rules, especially when they become inconvenient. Narrator. The Jovian crown emerged from a cloud vault guarded by blue lightning. President Bigley. The crown is slightly modest, but enlargement can follow victory. Narrator. Rover pressed a vending button, released royal crystals, and accidentally paid the fee. Judge Quark. Trial 1 requires 1 modest, controlled note on the trumpet of humility. Narrator. Prince Volt played a perfect note that folded the clouds into a circle. Bloop. I have never played a trumpet, although I accidentally swallowed 2. Narrator. Bloop produced 1 small squeak that the judges considered emotionally responsible. President Bigley. Humility deserves a much larger entrance than this. Narrator. His voice rolled across 7 cloud layers and startled a distant moon. Judge Quark. The note is too loud, too long, and contains unverifiable adjectives. President Bigley. I admit that I may require an even larger trumpet. Narrator. The humility sensor flashed green because the admission was technically modest. President Bigley. A technical pass is still a landslide when properly framed. Narrator. Trial 2 crossed floating platforms above Jupiter's endless red storm. Judge Quark. Reached the finish without engines, weapons, or intentional flying. Narrator. A magnetic platform trapped Prince Volt halfway through the maze. Bloop. I will use the ancient gelatin technique of becoming the floor. Narrator. Bigley's first step launched his enormous head upward like a weather balloon. President Bigley. Advanced physics has finally recognized natural leadership. Narrator. A turbine launched him directly into the finish bell. Judge Quark. The crossing was accidental, inelegant, and legally complete. Judge Quark. Now speak 1 honest statement before the truth gong. President Bigley. I entered for the crown, the cameras, and an extremely favorable entrance. Judge Quark. Trial 4 requires a responsible budget for Jupiter's future. Prince Volt. I would strengthen the arena, protect families, and maintain the storm engines. President Bigley. I will sell naming rights to every cloud, moon, and suspicious lightning bolt. Narrator. The budget printed a debt ribbon long enough to orbit loop. Judge Quark. Trial 5 is the crown of calm, which reacts to emotional stability. Narrator. Bloop sat quietly and became almost perfectly round. Narrator. Prince Volt controlled every spark and lowered his heartbeat. President Bigley. I am extremely calm, and everyone should notice immediately. Narrator. A trumpet cork silenced him for 3 seconds, and the crown finally glowed green. Judge Quark. Against probability, all 3 champions have reached the final ceremony. Narrator. The crown floated above an ancient storm engine hidden beneath the arena. President Bigley. The crown appears ready for an early and very efficient transfer. Narrator. His sleeve caught the pedestal, and the crown dropped into the ignition channel. Narrator. The ancient storm engine woke with the enthusiasm of an angry planet. Captain Vega. Arena balance failing, lower engines offline. Altitude dropping fast. Narrator. The great red spot widened beneath the arena like a giant open mouth. Queen Nimbus 9th. The crown is also the engine key because ancient designers enjoyed drama. Prince Volt. The orchestra can stabilize the engine if every trumpet plays one frequency. Dr. Nova. The registered champion must recover the crown and give one honest command. President Bigley. This crisis has tremendous visibility and excellent rescue potential. Narrator. Plan 1 involved politely asking the Great Red Spot to stop. Narrator. The storm responded by stealing the podium and 2 microphones. Narrator. Plan 2 used Bigley's capes as emergency sails. Captain Vega. The capes are rotating the arena faster, not lifting it. Narrator. Plan 3 aimed every hotel fan directly at the storm. Bloop. Those fans currently prevent 6 guests from becoming ceiling decorations. Dr. Nova. Stop improvising. The engine diagram contains a harmonic restart sequence. Prince Volt. 1,000 trumpets can carry the frequency through the storm. Captain Vega. Air Force One can amplify the note from above the arena. President Bigley. Excellent, because I have always conducted extremely large audiences. Narrator. The musicians tuned 1,000 instruments in 800 different keys. Judge Quark. The instruction says 1 frequency, not 1,000 opinions. President Bigley. Everyone play the note called winning, preferably louder than the storm. Narrator. The first blast created a shock wave that folded the royal roof inward. Dr. Nova. Reduce volume, match Prince Volt's lightning and hold the middle frequency. Prince Volt. Lightning channel synchronized. Orchestra. Follow my pulse. Narrator. For one miraculous moment, every trumpet produced the same silver note. Narrator. The note revealed the crown glowing deep inside the storm engine. Captain Vega. The shaft is too narrow for the rocket, but unfortunately wide enough for Bigley narrowing. They tethered him with capes, safety cable, and 1 box of emergency hats. Narrator. Inside the engine, building-sized gears turned through rivers of blue lightning. Dr. Nova. Move left after the red gear and avoid every surface that looks expensive. Narrator. A trumpet echo bounced Bigley between 2 safety rails. Bloop. Please step lightly, because I am becoming an emergency bridge. Prince Volt. Magnetic pulse ready on your command. Narrator. The pulse loosened the crown and launched it into Bigley's hands. Storm engine. State your honest purpose for entering the royal tournament. President Bigley. I came to deliver historic leadership and premium results. President Bigley. I came for the crown, the cameras, and a very favorable entrance. President Bigley. I do not want everyone to fall because I pressed another button. Narrator. The crown unfolded into a silver conductor key shaped like lightning. Dr. Nova. Insert it into the upper socket and rotate exactly 37 degrees. President Bigley. 37 continues to perform extremely well under pressure. Narrator. The orchestra held its note while Air Force One fired every remaining engine. Narrator. The storm gears restarted with a sound halfway between thunder and applause. Queen Nimbus at 9, arena altitude rising, royal kitchens no longer becoming a moon. Narrator. A pressure wave launched Bigley from the shaft into the largest trumpet. Narrator. His accidental final note completed the sequence and restored every arena light. Judge Quark. Prince Volt finishes first, Bloop second, and Bigley a confusing third. President Bigley. Third place becomes first after 2 strategic recounts. Queen Nimbus ninths. Bigley receives the title Royal Assistant for unplanned emergencies. President Bigley. Assistant is a temporary spelling of Executive Champion. Narrator. Judge Quark then unrolled the royal damage invoice across the arena. President Bigley. Charge the silver button, because it registered me without informed enthusiasm. Queen Nimbus its Nikes. Jupiter offers this contained storm cloud as complicated gratitude. Narrator. Rover opened the silver latch while searching for a snack control. Narrator. A private rainstorm flattened Bigley's protected comb-over during the flight home. Narrator. Back on Earth, Saturn announced an auction for a missing ring segment. Dr. Nova. Nobody touched the auction button, especially anyone attracted to shiny objects. Flight computer, congratulations, you own ring segment 7 for 9 trillion cloud credits. This is a fictional parody, and absolutely none of it happened. In 8 minutes, Bigley would save Uranus or tip over with it. The planetary axis tower leaned farther over the northern clouds. Nova ordered Bigley to release the correction lock immediately. Below, 3 moon routes drifted toward the outer rings. Director Meridian watched another stabilizer platform tear loose. The seasonal mirrors reversed, the ring tug stalled, and Winter moved. Auditor Slope confirmed only the appointed inspector could reset everything. Bigley treated accidental authority like an excellent technical qualification. To understand the disaster, we must return to the Uranus audit. The Pluto crystal had delivered a 98-degree overdue notice. The notice automatically appointed Bigley inspector of sideways planets. Nova explained that Uranus had rotated sideways for billions of years. Bigley saw the diagram and declared the planet visually unfinished. Captain Vega reported that Air Force One was barely upright itself. Rover found a flashing button labeled Automatic Orientation Corrections. Nova covered the button before history repeated itself again. Bigley packed measuring tapes, gold arrows, and 40 spirit levels. Zorp transmitted one warning about planets that preferred being left alone. Air Force One departed carrying the solar system's least qualified inspector. Uranus appeared ahead like a pale blue world resting sideways. Bigley called the tilt a management issue with excellent visibility. Director Meridian welcomed the inspector to the axial balance station. Auditor Slope presented 9,000 years of perfectly stable reports. The planet's rings, moons, and seasons all matched its unusual tilt. Bigley placed a gold upright arrow over the scientific display. Meridian quietly moved the emergency manual closer to Nova. The audit required observation, measurement, and absolutely no planet moving. Rover accidentally approved a provisional correction permit. Bigley announced the first planetary straightening project in history. His engineers proposed harmless sensors and a longer observation period. Bigley replaced the sensors with 4 enormous orbital tow engines. Nova warned that no machine could simply rotate an entire planet. Bigley reduced the problem by drawing Uranus much smaller. Meridian explained that the seasonal mirrors were not steering controls. Bigley renamed them executive direction panels and ordered activation. The first mirror turned toward the wrong hemisphere. The second mirror illuminated an empty ring maintenance depot. The third mirror reflected Bigley's face across half the planet. The fourth mirror melted its own ceremonial ribbon. Construction began on a machine called the Planet Straightener. Each engine carried a level, a camera, and 3 unnecessary flags. Captain Vega synchronized the engines at minimum safe power. Bigley immediately moved every throttle to maximum confidence. The engines failed to move Uranus by even one meaningful atom. Instead, they dragged the axial balance station around the planet. Bigley declared the rotating station proof that progress had begun. Auditor Slope measured the progress as entirely unrelated. Rover activated the automatic orientation system to help the engines. Every ancient balance system interpreted the command as an emergency. The ring tugs pulled inward, while the seasonal mirrors pushed outward. Navigation beacons rotated 98 degrees away from their routes. The northern weather tower began sliding across the cloud tops. One polar farm received 12 summers in a single minute. Another station entered winter before breakfast was finished. 3 moons received conflicting instructions about which way was up. Captain Vega reported that the outer ring lane was folding inward. Meridian confirmed the correction software was correcting the wrong object. Bigley blamed the planet for refusing a very clear vertical opportunity. The axial tower finally leaned beyond its last safety marker. Bigley's first correction involved attaching more spirit levels. The levels agreed perfectly that everything nearby was falling. Plan 2 used 40 capes as emergency aerodynamic fins. The capes turned the station into a faster spinning inspection wheel. Plan 3 asked the planet to meet halfway at 49 degrees. Uranus continued rotating without attending the negotiation. Plan 4 deployed a giant gold kickstand beneath the tower. The kickstand pierced a decorative cloud and supported nothing. Nova erased the 4 plans before Bigley discovered a 5th marker. Meridian revealed a neutral restoration mode built for accidental inspectors. The restoration system required the original 98-degree alignment. It also required the inspector to cancel every correction order. Bigley objected because cancellation sounded visually similar to surrender. Nova renamed the process Advanced Sideways Optimization. Bigley approved the new branding before reading the science. The ring tugs had to pull the station back along 4 precise paths. Captain Vega assigned 1 tug to each damaged stabilizer arm. Meridian aligned the seasonal mirrors with the natural sideways seasons. Polar Keeper Nix reopened the frozen climate vents. Bigley reserved the largest tow engine for ceremonial leadership. The 4 ring tugs fired together above the sideways planet. The station moved slowly back toward its original balance point. Seasonal mirrors folded into a calm silver arc. The collapsed moon roots began straightening around the rings. 1 damaged cable snapped beneath Bigley's ceremonial tug. The lead engine swung toward the northern weather tower. Captain Vega ordered the engine disconnected from the station. Bigley refused to abandon the only engine carrying his nameplate. Rover detached the nameplate and accidentally saved the engine. The station reached alignment with 1 second remaining. The external system stabilized, but the access core remained locked. Only the appointed inspector could enter the final orientation chamber. Nova fitted him with a silver suit and 3 safety cables. The hatch barely accepted his enormous head and rejected 1 cape. Inside, rotating rings displayed every season of Uranus at once. The core requested 1 accurate statement about the planet's orientation. Bigley first described the tilt as a temporary branding problem. He next called sideways rotation an aggressive horizontal strategy. The tower shook as the final safety cable began unraveling. Bigley finally admitted that sideways was correct for Uranus. The inspector key unfolded into a 98-degree silver arc. Bigley inserted it into the original alignment socket. The planetary systems canceled every upright correction command. The axis tower returned to its stable working angle. Moon routes reopened beyond the rings. The polar farms received their proper seasons again. Director Meridian certified the planet naturally and permanently sideways. Auditor Slope removed the overdue label from the axis report. Bigley received the title Temporary Inspector of Correctly Tilted Worlds. He shortened the title to Supreme Director of Planetary Angles. The Uranus Authority presented the complete correction invoice. The bill included mirrors, tugs, capes, cables, and 1 melted ribbon. Bigley tried charging the planet for resisting improvement. Meridian presented 1 sealed sample of sideways cloud ice. Rover opened the case beside the repaired coffee valve. The crystal projected an emergency cooling request from Venus. Its atmospheric thermostat had been set to luxury sauna mode. Nova blocked the automatic planetary air conditioning button. Bigley promised to make Venus comfortable before lunch. The computer appointed him temporary director of planetary climate.